Okay, let's talk about Taylor Swift, but we're not going to talk about celebrity gossip. Today, we're decoding the psychological playbook behind one of the most powerful brands on the planet. And trust me, this isn't just about music, it's a masterclass in strategy that you can actually use in your own life and career. And that quote right there, it gets to the absolute heart of it. We're not looking at Taylor Swift the musician. We're looking at Taylor Swift the architect, the mind that has systematically learned how to turn immense pressure into power and setbacks into a brilliant strategy. So what we're going to do is deconstruct her mental operating system. We're going to break it down into clear, actionable principles. Think of this as a case study, not just in being creative, but in how to be an elite-level CEO of your own life. Now, you're going to want to stick around for this whole thing. Seriously, each part builds on the last, but I'm saving the master key, the one psychological shift that makes her seem so unbreakable, for the very, very end. You're not going to want to miss it. All right, let's dive right in. Part 1, protecting the golden goose. This is the absolute foundation. Everything else we're going to talk about today is built on top of this one core idea. It all starts here. You've probably heard this story before, right? The golden goose. So many people get obsessed with chasing the golden eggs. You know, the money, the promotion, the followers. But they get so focused on the rewards that they completely forget to feed the goose, the actual skill that creates the value in the first place. Swift, on the other hand, is absolutely obsessed with taking care of her goose. And the psychological fuel for that obsession, it's something called intrinsic interest. It's that drive to do something just because you love the process itself, not because of what you get at the end. The research here is really clear. Genuine creativity explodes when it's driven by a love for the craft. For her, that's songwriting. That is her golden goose. And here's where you see the two-path split. When you focus on the process, you build sustainable, long-term creativity. But when you focus only on the paycheck, you start to neglect the very skill that makes the rewards possible. And that, my friends, is a one-way ticket to burnout. It's a simple distinction, but it is so profound. Okay, so once you have that foundation, how do you handle what the world throws at you? Let's get into part 2, escaping the common traps. This is all about navigating the psychological landmines that derail most people. Oh, the sunk cost trap. We have all been here. You've poured so much time or effort or money into something that you know isn't working, but you just keep going because you've already invested so much. Now, when Taylor Swift lost the rights to her master recordings, she was facing a gigantic version of this very trap. You know, it reminds me of that old Warren Buffett line, when you find yourself in a hole, the best thing you can do is stop digging. And she got that instinctively. Instead of digging a deeper hole, fighting a losing battle, she just stopped. She recognized her past work was a sunk cost, and the only smart move was to walk away. And that was the pivot. It was genius. Instead of being a guardian of the past, stuck defending a bad deal, she became an architect of the future. By re-recording her albums, she didn't just escape the trap, she took back her entire legacy, completely on her own terms. Now, let's talk about the other huge trap. Public opinion. This is that constant, nagging pressure to conform, to get everyone's approval, to just fit in. And for someone in the public eye, that pressure is turned up to 1,000. So how does she counter that? She has what psychologists call an internal locus of evaluation. It's a fancy way of saying her sense of worth comes from the inside, based on her own standards, not from what anyone else thinks. This lets her reject what some call foisted values, the ones the world tries to push on you. When your value is internal, you're just way more emotionally secure. Criticism just doesn't hit as hard. So with all this pressure coming at her, how does she actually process it and turn it into art? Well, it all starts with how she manages her own mind. This brings us to part 3, the CEO of your mind. You see, she doesn't just feel emotions, she runs them through a system. In psychology, this is called high cognitive complexity. It's this incredible ability to hold multiple, even conflicting viewpoints at the exact same time. It means she can be the person living through some big emotional event and simultaneously be the storyteller watching it all from a distance. And you can literally see her process in action. Step 1, she experiences an emotion. She really lives it. But then, step 2, she kind of pops out of the drama to observe it. Step 3, she lets her internal committee, all the different voices in her head, debate the meaning and the narrative. And then finally, step 4. From all that chaotic, messy input, she creates something incredibly structured and powerful, a song. Okay, this is it. We're here. We've arrived at the master key I promised you at the start. This is the core principle that pulls everything else we've talked about together. And it all comes down to this one question. How do you handle failure and criticism and huge setbacks without letting them just destroy who you are? What's the secret to being unbreakable? Well, the answer is adopting what's called the craftsperson mindset. It's a massive shift in where you point your judgment. You stop judging who you are, and you start evaluating what you do. And this distinction is everything. The judge of self says, I failed, therefore I am a failure. And that just leads to ego and stagnation. But the craftsperson says, the execution failed, so I will improve the execution. That is the path to growth and mastery. This is the ultimate result. When you can separate your ego from your actions, you can critique and improve your performance relentlessly without it feeling like a personal attack. You become the owner of your actions, not a victim of your feelings, and that is how you become unstoppable. Okay, let's bring this all home. Let's put this together into a real playbook you can use to start rewriting your own mental code for success, starting today. Here it is, boiled down. 1. Feed the goose, not just the eggs. Focus on your core skill. 2. Know when you're in a hole and have the courage to stop digging and pivot. 3. Build your sense of value from the inside out. Don't let others define you. 4. Step back and observe your life like a storyteller. Find the narrative. And finally, the most important rule of all, judge the action, not yourself. Taylor Swift's story proves that you don't have to be a prisoner of your circumstances or your thoughts. You can be the architect of your own mind. You are the awareness behind it all. So the only real question left is, what's your goose? What core skill will you commit to mastering using this playbook starting today?